It is one of the most sobering thoughts we face every single day. More than half of the people in this country have no emergency savings. And it's very true that plenty of Americans are one or two paychecks away from being homeless. While the majority of states are making gains in keeping people off the streets, at any given time there are more than 500,000 people sleeping outside in emergency shelters or transitional housing. In other words, homeless. In this age of instant communication, many of these are still people who cannot keep in touch with their families or the people they dearly miss. Obvious reason, not having a cell phone or a readily available internet link. One group, though, is seeking to change that dynamic for the better. Our guest has experienced this up close and personal, leading him to create miracle messages and give the homeless and their families a measure of hope. Let's welcome Kevin Adler to the Hardline. Kevin, thanks so much for being here.
Shake hands?
Absolutely. Let's do that and get off on a good foot here. This is amazing when I first read about it, because you would think that with the growth of social media in the last 10, 15 years, there would be ways for the homeless to at least try to get back in touch with their family. But you've had personal experience with this. It's as if they don't exist. They disappear completely off the social media grid.
Absolutely. And, in my case, I was inspired by my uncle, Mark, who was homeless for 30 years. He suffered from schizophrenia. And, even though he was homeless, I never saw him as a homeless man. He was always my beloved uncle, who remembered every birthday and was the life of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so when he passed away, my dad and I visited the gravesite, and I realized that my dad had, purchased this gravesite so his memory wouldn't be lost from this earth. And yet, on social media, every detail of every acquaintance we've ever met is being shared. So is there a way beyond just, a stone marker to maybe share the stories of the living that are still among us, our homeless neighbors? And that's really what led me to start thinking of how technology can make an impact in the lives of the homeless.
And what you do is, and what you have done is, you've been in contact with homeless people, you've done videos of them. The amazing part of the story is you put those videos up, and then it's thousands of hits that people get. All of a sudden, it's as if people say, and they just find them out of nowhere. That, to me, is astounding.
Yeah, we started out with a man in San Francisco who took a walk down Market Street, and his name was Jeffrey, and he hadn't seen his sister in 22 years. And we recorded a short video, put it online, and in under 2 weeks, it had been shared hundreds of times, like thousands of times.
You didn't do anything else? You didn't put out any other notices or anything? You just put up the video and people started to see it?
You're from on Toursville if ... which every community has, and then the local police department. And simply by sharing it in these channels, within 2 weeks, his sister and him were on a phone call. Not only had he not seen her in 22 years, he had been a missing person for 12 years, missing in broad daylight. And so it just got me thinking, how can we use the tools that we use every day for status updates and liking and sharing to potentially change the lives of our homeless neighbors?
Do you find out now that more people are paying attention to the messages that you put up because you've had some success stories here now, so people are almost seeking it out and trying to see if they know somebody and spread the message?
Yeah, this is one of the coolest parts, is people are actually taking it upon themselves to do some of the detective work for us. And so we'll put out a video and someone will say, hey, I think I found his sister or her mother here. And then sharing it and liking, usually these can be, fairly incidental ways to measure impact. This is the impact. By sharing it, liking it, gets the message across. So we've had hundreds of people across the country wanting to get involved in their own communities, because all it takes is a smartphone and a little bit of social media awareness.
Is it just on Facebook, or are there other forms of social media you use?
Primarily Facebook. We've used, white pages online, contacting local police departments, and then local media, of course. But Facebook groups and sharing it on Facebook walls is a pretty good way to start.
What's the one story? I mean, you mentioned your uncle, but out of all the stories that you've had here, what's the one that really made you step back a little bit and go, wow, we're really doing something really important here?
I was walking down the street in Burlington, Vermont, and traveling across the country helping 100 reunions take place is the vision. And we met a man named Perry who hadn't seen his son in 18 years. And we recorded a short video from Perry to his son, very heartfelt. And we met up with him the next day, and within 24 hours, we had his son record a short video back to his father, and then facilitated a phone call between the two of them. This is the first time they had talked since the boy was 5 years old. He's now a 23-year-old man. Wow. And so the idea that here's this man holding up a sign asking for $1 or $2, and instead we offer him this opportunity to reunite with someone he's thought about every single day of his life for the last 18 years, that was profound. And now they're going to be reuniting in person in the next week or two. So
now you're asking people you ask them to do the videos here. You don't go out and record them all, I would guess, and then they can upload them to your website. How's that work?
So one of the parts that makes this possible is our partnerships with local organizations. So here in South Florida, we've partnered with First Presbyterian Church in Fort Lauderdale, and then we partner with Hope South Florida and a few other organizations that basically open up their doors and connect us with some of the local homeless service recipients that are interested in recording these video messages. We have lines of people. When we make an announcement at a shelter, people come together and we don't have the bandwidth to really meet all the need. So we rely on local volunteers carrying this mantle and continuing to do this work in their communities.
How much of it is people giving you money? Because you got to, let's face it costs money to do this thing, so you're always looking for donations to help, right?
That helps. We raised, it's not the first thing I always think about, we raised some money online on an Indiegogo campaign, and that's supported enough for this road trip. The next steps are going to be get more donations, apply for some grants, and then we're looking to develop a television show, like a kind of better version of reality TV.
Like and I don't want to use the now, but like an America's Most Wanted and America's Most Needing to be Found.
It's like a reverse version of that, right? Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the detective work, the backstory of the families, it really has the making for something that's extremely compelling to watch, but also incredibly socially impactful that we can all do in our own communities.
I think it's a brilliant idea because people just don't have cell phones, they always don't have internets, and this is a way for them to get in touch with people. I want to remind everybody once again that if you want to go ahead and visit, go to miraclemessages.org, check it out, find out what they do, find out how you can help as well, because this is something that everybody can get involved in. You don't need a buck, all you need to have is a phone and get somebody and get a video and get it out there. Kevin, brilliant, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. Good luck with it. We'll make sure that we follow up as well. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hardline, continues.